Good morning, guys. I'm glad you can make it. So today I wanted to bring back a very special archetype for me. This is the archetype that brought me down to like rank 2 or 3 the first time I was getting to pro, and it was like when I really started to fall in love with Gwent, and I was understanding the game a lot more. So I wanted to bring it back. Consider it a throwback. I don't know if this is going to be meta or anything like that, but probably not. But it does win games, and I'm going to show you kind of the version that I would use if I'm putting it together today. So here we go, game 1 against Gurney. We're expecting relics to come out and stuff like that, but we do have a lot of points of our, for our own here. So starts off with the Dunka. Now I'm always trying to get the Dunka out as early as possible. Percival was a consideration, but at this point in the match, we kind of feel like maybe we actually just hold on to it. It's hard to tell how far we're going to play into the round. But the Harmony 2 would be the one extra point over time. And the reason why I thought of this here, guys, is I believe that the leader got a buff recently, and they actually gave it Harmony as well versus just a relic status. So it does act as an engine, so the 7 points could arguably get up to 10 or 11. And, the couple buffs here, I mean, like, Mushy Truffle's really good. This Gnome here is really good as well. The boost went from 2 to 3, so I was just trying to think of maybe a way to make it work with these little buffs. Of course, Simlas is just good too, so that's actually a pretty good fit. And I didn't include like a super large amount of cards that have a Harmony tag specifically, more so cards to proc it. So we put a couple of the Dryads in the Bronze End. We put a bit of a poison package just for some removal, and then of course we have the Percival. But other than that, I mean, we have that one Treant, right? And that's about it, that have the Harmony status. And I didn't want to go too hard. We have Waters for one round, and then just poison removal and Dwarves and things like that for another round, so it made sense to me here. And you see we add up quite a lot of points here. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Mushy Truffle. Normally I would just save it, see if I can bleed with it in the next round, but I feel like with monsters being a tough matchup, we have to respect the tempo. Looking at the board state here, Panther is not like an exceptional card or anything like that. It's basically just in here because of the beast status. I thought about the Owl at 5 provision, but I just felt like the Train Hawk wasn't the play, just because it's a little power crept at this point, whereas this card here got a buff to 4 provisions, so I felt like it was a bit more appropriate to add in for the beast column. Simlas is not really the reach we're looking for, because we do have the nature in hand, and we want to pull those instead of rebukes. Just wanted to get the elf on the board so we have it. They have no way to remove it, so that's going to stay, and I think with that we're going to be able to find a way out of the round. There he goes. Just a big 3/3/3. That's a huge play. And probably take... it's probably a rebuke here, isn't it? No death blows, just checking for the Deadeye. And we'll just go for an even like that. It's too bad we don't have any treants out, but it's fine. And I think, yeah, Dunka here is probably the play, yeah. Just so that we have a little bit of extra reach in case you want to pass on that. Now, obviously we hope at this point that we take the round, but there it is. It's one of those things where in this matchup, if you don't overcommit, then you're undercommitting. So they're just going to keep forcing it as long as they have reach. So we had to kind of just go a little bit heavy here. So let's rework that hand a little bit. Bountiful Harvest goes back, Waters are good to see. And the Witcher top right is basically just for the Harmony tag. Since Harmony was played, Witchers are now brought to Scoia'tael, so I figured, why don't we give it a try? I didn't want to put anything too expensive. I've seen some people doing Gezras and stuff like that, but I feel like it's just a more consistent play if we have multiple top good cards, especially because Waters are just so expensive now. it's a little bit different when you're playing Waters from Mystic Echo, but right now it's tough because a lot of opponents have a way to remove them in one turn. We got 3 Dryads out. Let's go ahead and hammer Leader and apply the pressure, guys. And so we have to make a decent run for it here because, you know, this is the play. If we don't just continue with it, then we're in trouble here. So Simlas goes down as well. I'm kind of baiting into a Gezres or a Great Oak. That would have been like the old version that I played, but it's not in this one here. We're looking to snipe something here, not hit the defender, so we'll probably just go ahead and take the Bomber, right? Bomber goes down, and then the Sorceress is just good to kind of keep it going for next turn. The one in hand is also boosted, so that really gives us a good push for getting another Bountiful there. And we have like an awkward Dryad that's just going to do 2 damage and poison, but not even really because the armor on that, so maybe we can move the defender, make it count a bit more. And at this point, it just makes sense to go for the 2-0. It's uncomfortable, but it's kind of the best bet. So looking back at the play here, there's something I probably would have done differently. So I think I take Rebuke on front row. I should have taken Rebuke on back row, just to deny Sabbath. So if you guys are playing in this matchup, just kind of take that in consideration. It's probably better to have it on the range row. Yeah, so that's that. I'm just kind of doing the math with it, and, you know, I'm not thinking it's going to round 3 anyways, but you never know. Because if we would have just hit the back row, they would have not had the extra points on the pig, I believe, that turn. And then 1 card to do it. I'm thinking that they're probably going to tie it up at this point, but it's just Squirrel. So, started off with a heater, guys. There's a quick 2-0. You got Line Pocket secondary, so this is going to be a very common matchup, and I was really excited about this one here because this would be like one of the ultimate tests to see, is it good, and, you know, is it somewhat viable. Now, I'm playing these games in pro rank, so if you're not pro rank, I would say give it a try, definitely. If you are pro rank, you're just looking for something a bit different to play, certainly go for it, but I'm not going to sit here and claim that it's going to be tier 1 or anything like that. But it is definitely a fun thing to do. And just so many good new cards, you know, so many overpowered cards can make sometimes even the most forgotten archetypes decent, like Mushy Truffle. It's kind of more than you'd think, right? To be able to put the Golden Froth on that row full of Dryads when the waters go down is like really good security.
My name? I don't recall.
Now, it was a tough choice. Like, I was pretty uncomfortable at first when I put these Dryads in there just at 4 provisions to fill the slot, but it kind of worked out. Like, if they stick, it's fine. And a lot of decks are kind of running cards like that. These days, it's kind of like a Vigilante if you think about it. Like, if you're thinking about like the Syndicate version. And I'm trying to decide what to do here, so I'm just cramming down cards and we'll see how it goes. So quick Rebuke, take it away and mitigate any sort of, you know, damage it's going to continue to do. If you guys haven't noticed too, I've been uploading a lot more recently over the past week. I have a lot more time to do than I did before, and I've been enjoying it more than ever right now, so expect videos from me. I'm aiming for every single day, and I noticed that a lot of my viewers are definitely not in Canada where I am because, you know, I get views like at 4 o'clock in the morning my time, so I'm putting a scheduled upload basically at 4 a.m. Eastern time, whatever that translates to in your time zone. You'll be able to check out my videos, and, you know, I'm trying to work in overdrive right now to get it like a couple days worth of content ready so that it's just like automated, you know. I really want to get into it like that, so yeah, good things coming, man. Been spending some time looking at, you know, how to use Photoshop more effectively, how to use Adobe Premiere Pro more effectively. You know, I'm just trying to invest in the channel and the stuff that I do, and going to be looking at in the future, not now, not anytime soon. Obviously the focus is Gwent, it's going to remain Gwent, but I want to get into playing multiple games with the primary amount of my content being Gwent, but then having like backup card games and roguelike games that I enjoy playing anyways. Like, I'm really big into games like Slay the Spire, Hades, like those types of games. I actually started a new card game, would have been yesterday, called Banners of Ruin, and that's pretty cool so far. So again, stuff like that coming on the way. So round 2, we got a round under the belt, and I'm thinking just let's do it for the content, you know? Cranking it. There's an argument to go leader, but I'm thinking, you know what? Let's see how they respond. And if I get a good response that we're happy with, then we'll actually just crank down Percival and leader right here. We want to get Percival down first for the extra boost. It just makes more sense. Reason why I played Waters first is because the Waters don't proc Percival because they're spawning, not playing. So that's kind of the sequence you're looking for here. And they're reading the leader because no one plays this, man. Like, I cannot recall the last time I seen this leader ability on the ladder. Let me know if you guys are running into this at all, and when's the last time you've seen it, because I swear it's been ever since, I think it, like, the leader came out. Maybe the first couple weeks people tried it and then it was just dealt with, you know, it was done. We have to respect Passiflora does really well in long rounds, so I'm looking for the perfect opportunity to pull out of this round here. But I feel like with the commitments we have made and with some of the cards that we have left, it just makes sense to keep going here. I'm looking for some of those damage cards. I want to get some of their control out of the way, because I look at, they have a full pile of coin and they have the full leader, and we've cranked ours. We're up by 20 points, so again, we do have our card back if we need it. And I'm hoping to get a couple specials here for that Whisperer.
Can be filed within 7
I think I counted maybe 7 or 8 Harmony tags. I'm pretty sure we have Mage, Elf, Gnome, Dryad, Dwarf, Relic, Human, Beast. I think there's 8, yeah, 8, something like that. I'll probably find one after I'm done recording this video, but I think there's 8. So you don't have to go too crazy with it. If you do, then sometimes, you know, you're just throwing bad cards in the deck for the sake of doing that. I felt like we had to make a couple compromises as it was in the bronze end, so 12 just seems like the biggest play. We want points on the board, and I want to do this as fast as possible before they start getting more than one Sly Seductress out there. So I'm just reading out the multiple card swings right now as fast as I can. And Townsfolk was a huge curveball. Townsfolk, Igor on 3 tax collectors, like, it's starting to get nasty. If you look at their side of the board, they have, I can't see it right now, but they have 3, 4, 5, 6 engines, right? We have, you know, 4, 5 out there, right? But ours are not passive like theirs are. Alright, so starting to get some of the coins out. We have Vitality on a couple things. We're up still by 24 points. Task collectors are just giving them, again, so much coin, and then it's just, wow. I'm doing some math here. I'm thinking this should provoke an all-in situation. And that's kind of what we want. 106 points on the bleed card down. Wow. So we're starting to see the rest of the coin here. Perfect. We had the Vitality, which is nice. Keep in mind, guys, we still do have 6 points carryover, so it sort of squares off their leader, what's left of it, with what we have as far as like resilience on the board. So that was kind of something I wanted here. We know it's not a 2-0 scenario just because I'm sure they can do 8 points in one turn, right? I'm looking to see what's left. I know it's going to be ugly, but it's going to come down to whoever top decks better. Seeing Philippa here is massive. Seeing Philippa here means, you know, short round Philippa is non-existent. We don't have to worry about, you know, getting anything, especially like a game-winning card taken away from us here, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm picking 1 poison removal and 6 points. And if we can stack them all beside each other, then we can, you know, boost them all. A little bit worried about the bounties and all the removal that could be part of this deck. Yeah, so when I saw this, I was getting pretty shook. I wanted to give them as little value as possible off any sort of removal, and obviously less profit. I was kind of thinking, you know, if they have, let's say, the odd Sea Jackal or something like that, it would be bad for us. And just before it gets worse, I think we do take the poison here and finish that off. So realistically, they can board wipe. Now that's the problem. When you're going bounty, you might have more coin than what you need at the end of it, so we're able to put this down for 5 points at the end of turn, plus the 2. 7 takes it. I was pretty happy with that game. I thought that was going to be a very tricky one. Speaking of tricky ones, here's another one that's going to be really hard. And whenever I see his leader ability, like, I'm loading into these games, guys, while I'm trying to record these, and I'm getting stressed. I'm like, oh, you know, should we just go next? But I gotta show you guys how it works. And it means taking on these tough matchups even when I don't want to, just so that we can get it sorted. So round 1. Just trying to get a hand to play with, but nothing too strong, nothing too weak. You guys kind of get the point here. Usually when you're playing Scoia'tael, if you have Dunka in a deck, you slam it down, you put the boost on it here.
I bring death, quite literally.
So I honestly am starting to think at this point that it's going to be very difficult to get out of this round. The Blight Makers and a lot of the new thinning packages and tutors are just really strong. And, you know, when we're putting down engines that aren't really doing a lot, it gets a little bit tricky here. So, you know, while playing cards, I'm trying to plan for, okay, if we lose on even, how's that going to go? Put down this so that I have the option to go for some nature cards if I want, but also when we flip it to a Dryad, it's good for the Percival. I just thought we'd get it out of the way sooner than later. So we'll flip it here and just put the Percival down.
Topaz, ruby, sapphire, any ye desire.
Now, even though they're winning, they still go and crank that leader. Sure, I guess that works. We're happy to see it here because I pretty well accepted the fact that we're probably losing on even. It just means we only have one more leader charge to deal with, and we can probably bait that out with something else, but we'll just move on to the next round. I don't really want to give them my best cards, like a free spying tag on them. Get a couple points of carryover, and we didn't really make many commitments, so it's not too bad. The fledgling's just too slow. I think we have to greet it on the sorceress and just tuck that back for the waters. That's fine. So provided 9 cards in hand, we have 1 turn to take a rebuke because we can just play down to 7.
Nothing will stop us.
Proactive Menno into a Joust, they're really looking for us to play cards, but that's not like a very fast play if they're looking to bleed, so I'm thinking that they're probably going to pass on 7. And I'm surprised because they would push so hard to win on even in round 1, there's really no reason to pass, but I think what they wanted to see were the waters, so they got what they wanted and now we can just pass. It's one of those things, like, you can look at it either way, you know, maybe they had a really good pushing hand and we avoided, you know, an unfortunate bleed, but we have to sort of respect the bleed and put down something like that just because otherwise the harmony tag doesn't work. We have to play them first and, you know, the other tags following that to get the boosts. They can't be existing on the board before we play it. But Mushy Truffle and the Dwarf is great to see. 2 Bountifuls in deck, so we're going to basically go Fauve into probably Call, into Simlas, into the 2 Bountiful Harvest. You guys have seen this one. It's so nice. So the deck thins out just as good as anything else pretty well. And normally I don't run Fauve in a Simlas deck, but we do have 2 golds, you know, natures we want to grab, being Call and Waters, so it just makes sense. Those are kind of like win conditions.
Like that.
I just think it's funny. Everybody doesn't know what to do with that leader. They're hovering over it, and I think it was still more points to just lock the Sork. But they're probably thinking that we have Dryad's Caress, and that was a consideration for the deck. But I felt like we're already pretty boosty, and it just made a bit more sense to like get those off the Bountiful Harvest if we were going to do that. So we'll start cramming here, see if we can just keep recycling. Makes it hard to deal with, and Tempering's probably our most points. And now that's a really good target for them, but we kind of have to greet it a little bit. I'm hoping to get a couple more Bountiful Harvests off this. We have the 1 in hand at 6, we have the 1 on the playing field. Yikes. I didn't really respect that, but, you know, it could have been much better for them, so it's fine. It still plays for roughly 10 points, we'll say. But we still have a pretty cozy lead here. That's like a little bit scary, because we don't have anything to ping armor off, or the shield off it. I could potentially get the defender moved, but it really doesn't matter for us here. Again, taking the poison instead of the shield. I just played it there because we do have a fair amount of specials left, so I didn't really want to start stacking the melee row. I don't think the shield would have made too much of a difference anyways, because they have tons of different things that they can put, you know, their charges off of, so it doesn't really matter. Get the beast tag down there. Only 1 harmony engine out. So just picture what would have been going on if we had the Waters of Brokilon in round 3 for this game.
Wars are won with discipline, my lord.
Double Helga imprisonment tactics is pretty wild.
There is no place more beautiful.
And that's going to engine off pretty hard probably because they have a handful of tactics, I'm sure. I saw that, I was getting kind of scared, guys, because like they're getting so much points off the 2 Helgas and the Whisperer. And they're going and killing the row as much as possible because I think that, again, they're waiting for that Gezras. And that's kind of the way I've been playing it. I've been sort of baiting out like, oh, I have Gezras, so that they kind of hold on to some removal. So then things like the Sorks can stick around until, you know, we've already used what card they make on the order. (24, 44), same cards. I'm running out of tempo. I look at The Witcher and it's pretty sad. It's just gonna play for like 6 points, 7 points at best, right? And we have to get the Marauder out there. There's like a time constraint because we're not gonna get the full turns on one or the other, so it's tough. Go ahead and use that. Obviously, we want to get the vitality boost and keep things alive. So there it is.
Splendid crops this year, and ever they shall be.
And they deny a good amount of value here. I'm worried about like multiple tall removal because we got a bunch of 9s out there, so kind of worried here. Rebuke plays for 1 damage. If I was to go back and redo this game, I would have sooner put the Witcher down just because the 1 damage wasn't really worth a whole lot to us. And they know we don't have the follow-up poison, so they're just going to go ahead and boost it. But again, yeah, see, now I'm thinking Cat Witcher's probably the play here. We don't go bleeding. I would probably just go Vitality in this case. Why not?
You have our undivided attention.
And that's not a bad leader for them. Nice 7-point leader. It's not great either. I mean, overall, she plays for 10 points. And I guess that would have been it. They had nothing to follow up, and Treant's just too big. Moving on to the last game for today, guys. So we have Inspired Zeal, Northern Realms. I'm thinking mages right away. Mages or Siege or... I don't know. I'm just expecting duels and mages, man. And I'm already thinking this is probably like the worst matchup that we have. Like, we thought Nilfgaard was bad, but I think this one's probably worse. If it's like the conventional deck.
My great-granddaughter will do great things.
And right there, off the bat with one of the first ones. And I have no removal, guys, especially with the shield on it. It's looking pretty bad, so we're just going to chuck down bronzes and reassess in a couple cards.
It's the one-way assault, I assure you.
So many points, it's ridiculous. Like, that card deserves to be 12 provision. It's honestly like that good. The fact that it's 9 is just absurd. So I feel like this deck that they're going for right now is really good on red coin. We're very lucky that we're on red coin ourselves, so we can sort of look for an early pass before they develop any more mages or before they click for carryover, so then it gives us like an extra card to defend the bleed with. So like if they play here and they don't click those mages order, that's probably when we'd look at passing, because then they want to play another turn so that they can click them, right? So quick pass here. This card back that they're using kind of, it bothers me when I'm playing games because like it looks like there's a Sunset Wanderers in everybody's hand when they open and shut like that. So it's a little bit confusing to see what we're playing against, but I mean it looks pretty cool regardless. So yeah, they played a 5. They couldn't resist, guys. And it's not to say, that's one of like the keys to the matchup, because if you're 2 cards down, who cares about your 12 points or whatever it might be? It'd be 14, like 15. No, they got the nerf. It's right. It's 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, 12 points. There you go. I had it right the first time. But I don't think it's worth 2 cards. Just putting Drog down for 7, I guess. I'm starting to think, okay, what's going on with this, right? They're not going to be able to renew the order on those necessarily. I mean, they could, but it's probably a little slow at this point. Maybe we just go for points here. Drog tells me there might be PFIs. And, you know, they might just be doing the whole rev thing. Which could actually be a ton of points against us because we have so many little engines and we have no real solid removal. Again, I don't even really have rebuke access that we'd want to spend, like, that's in the single turn. Because that would have been a perfect opportunity, but I'm pretty sure both rebukes are in our deck at this point of the match. So again, if I knew they were going to really crank it, I would have put down Waters first. There wasn't really a way to tell, just because their carryover wasn't all that great. But we are 2 cards ahead, so we do have some time to sort of deal with that. This is kind of annoying. They're getting 2 passive points per turn on that. We can't even remove the 3 in the back. But I'm thinking that with the extra cards that we have, we should just be able to outpoint them when they take it to a long round. Plus their board state's going to be pretty full soon, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to slam that down here to respect it, because at this point, I want a defend card. I think it's very important that, you know, we try and take that 2 card advantage, or as much as possible going into round 3. And we have a couple, you know, average bronze cards to trade if they start playing slow, and we have a couple big plays if they start playing a bit faster, so it's a pretty cozy hand here. Obviously duels would be pretty annoying, or a boiling oil, it would be pretty annoying if they had something like that, but that's a card we haven't seen in a while. So I'm thinking when I see Reynard, it's probably Meave, and they're probably just self-cannibalizing to fill the board with units, opposed to using them offensively. So if we can avoid that, that would be great. It sucks, I was fishing for a rebuke here, we didn't get it. Wait, we wouldn't have gotten a rebuke off the 4. No, what was I doing? Either way, we're getting points out of this here. Rebuke's still not going to happen. Consideration to just poison out that 5 as soon as possible, right? There's the Meave. And I don't think it's too intimidating, because, like, the 3-turn counter is not necessarily great. They'll be able to get that 1 big boost at the end, but if they don't have any more PFIs, it's not going to be a really crazy boost.
Battles are won or lost by the commanders, not by sorceresses.
Clearly that was a surprise to me. I was wondering why they felt so comfortable, but Sabrina is a thing. I haven't tried Sabrina since can't really tell if it's a buff or nerf. I mean, more damage, but a lot more provisions. So it's one of those things. I guess Sabrina was this like a really good play there. Try and get a dwarf down so that we have the complete Barnabas. And we have reach within one card here. Knowing they'll probably just continue to play, right? Now we got a new row full and they're going for one counter on the Maeve. So, I don't think that they'd get us to go all in with this, but we'd probably have 2 cards left. 2 cards left or 1 card left. 1 card left if they go all in, pretty sure. And I figured we go ahead and try to get some damage here so we can, you know, make it not as great for wide boost. Last card's probably Ysgith. I'm thinking it actually is. I forget exactly, but it would just make sense here regardless. And I guess they're thinking that we are going to take 2 cards to do it, but it should only take us 1. Like, this is wild. The 5 points of... it's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 5 engines for Harmony, so that's huge. Card carryover for round 3. We have a solid sorceress here at 10, so that's going to really help us out. And Dunka in short round, I'll probably try and look to play that for points. Get rid of those, we have the bonded on that. I think that's like pretty much the hand. So we can either go from Call into Fulv into Rebuke, or we can go... That's still probably the most points at this point in the match. Defender changes that a little bit though. And I'm trying to be mindful of the fact that they might have duels and things. That's why I'm kind of playing it a little bit slow. It's a weird sequence. We want to make sure we don't get the elf destroyed here. So the fact that Drog was spent is like a huge relief here, because they're losing a lot of value on this that conversion. Percival late is better than never. Again, I'm feeling a bit more comfortable that it's just boost primary and they're not really going to have something that's going to remove it, so we might as well see some value on it. It's still going to play for 9 points with the boost by 2 per each. Keep that there, look for a Bountiful after, and unfortunately Dunka just looks like it's going to play for 4 points. Unless we can... It's not even worth moving back the Defender or anything like that if we have a chance. And fortunately it's boosted enough that it still works. We don't have any opportunity to take damage here, so Orbs for Vitality, and we just put down that Dunka. That'll take it by 6. There we go.